Chapter 10. Piper. The whole campfire idea freaked Piper out. It made her think of that huge purple bonfire in her dreams, and her father tied to a stake. What she got instead was almost as terrifying. A sing-along. The amphitheater steps were carved into the side of the hill, facing a stone-lined fire pit. 50 or 60 kids filled the rows, clustered in groups under various banners. Piper spotted Jason in the front next to Annabeth. Leo was nearby, sitting with a bunch of burly-looking campers under a steel-gray banner emblazoned with a hammer. Standing in front of her, half a dozen campers with guitars and strange, old-fashioned harps, lyres, were jumping around, leading a song about pieces of armor, something about how their grandma got dressed for war. Everybody was singing with them and making gestures for the pieces of armor and joking around. It was quite possibly the weirdest thing Piper had ever seen. One of those campfire songs that would have been completely embarrassing in daylight. But in the dark, with everybody participating, it was kind of corny and fun. As the energy level got higher, the flames did too, turning from red to orange to gold. Finally, the song ended with a lot of rowdy applause. A guy on a horse trotted up. At least in the flickering light, Piper thought it was a guy on a horse. Then she realized it was a centaur. His bottom half was a white stallion. His top half was a middle-aged guy with curly hair and a trimmed beard. He brandished a spear, impaled with toasted marshmallows.
Very nice, and a special welcome for our new arrivals. I am Chiron, the Camp Activities Director, and I'm happy you've all arrived here alive with most of your limbs attached. In a moment, I promise, we'll get to the s'mores. But first...
"What about capture the flag?" someone yelled, grumbling. People out in the stands sitting in armor under a red banner looked up and agreed with them. The emblem had a boar's head.
Yes, the centaur said. I know the Ares cabin is anxious to return to the woods for our regular games. And kill people! One of them shouted. However, Chiron said, until the dragon is brought under control, that won't be possible. Cabin 9, anything to report on that?
He turned to Leo's group. Leo winked at Piper and shot her with a finger gun. The girl next to him stood uncomfortably. She wore an army jacket a lot like Leo's, with her hair covered in a red bandana. "We're working on it." More grumbling. "How, Nissa?" an Ares kid demanded. "Really hard," the girl said. Nissa sat down until a lot of yelling and complaining, which caused the fire to sputter chaotically. Chiron stamped his hoof against the fire pit stones. Bang, 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 and the campers fell silent.
We'll have to be patient, Chiron said. In the meantime, we have more pressing matters to discuss.
"Percy?" someone asked. The fire dimmed even further, but Piper didn't need the mood flames to sense the crowd's anxiety. Chiron gestured to Annabeth. She took a deep breath and stood. "I didn't find Percy," she announced. Her voice caught a little when she said his name. "He wasn't at the Grand Canyon like I thought, but we're not giving up. We've got teams everywhere. Grover, Tyson, Nico, the Hunters of Artemis, everyone's out looking. We will find him. Chiron's talking about something different. A new quest." "It's the Great Prophecy, isn't it?" a girl called out. Everyone turned. The voice had come from a group in the back, sitting under a rose-colored banner with a dove emblem. They'd been chatting among themselves, not paying much attention, until their leader stood up, Drew. Everyone else looked surprised. Apparently, Drew didn't address the crowd very often. "Drew?" Annabeth said. "What do you mean?" Come on." Drew spread her hands like the truth was obvious. "Olympus is closed. Percy's disappeared. Hera sent you a vision you come back with 3 new demigods in one day. I mean, something weird is going on. The Great Prophecy has started, right?" Piper whispered to Rachel. "She's talking about the Great Prophecy?" Then she realized everyone else was looking at Rachel too. "Oh well," Drew called down. "You're the Oracle. Has it started or not?" Rachel's eyes looked scary in the firelight. Piper was afraid she might clench up and start channeling a freaky peacock goddess again. But she stepped forward calmly and addressed the camp. "Yes," she said. "The Great Prophecy has begun." Pandemonium broke out. Piper caught Jason's eye. He mouthed, "Are you all right?" She managed to nod and smiled, but then looked away. It was too painful seeing him and not being with him. When the talking finally subsided, Rachel took another step towards the audience, and 50-plus demigods leaned away from her, as if one skinny red-haired mortal was more intimidating than all of them put together. "For those of you who have not heard it," Rachel said, "the Great Prophecy was my first prediction. It arrived in August. It goes like this.